Sairam, we welcome you all to the Sri Sathya Sai Center of Arcadia, and a very warm welcome to our guest speaker, Brother Raghunath Raman. He came all the way from San Jose. And he's returning back today, and he came just for this. So he has been coming the last few times, and he drives all the way and goes back. So Raghunath Raman lives in San Jose, California, and works in technology. He was born in India into a family that has had the privilege of being very close to Swami. He and his family have witnessed and experienced several leelas of Swami when he was in his physical form. And we are very happy to listen to some of these stories firsthand. So thank you, brother. And I think we have some slides also that Chiranjeevi will share. Sairam.
Sairam to everybody. Happy New Year to all of you. Is it good? Audio's good? Yeah. At the outset, I'm just a very simple person, just trying to share some stories, nothing of that sort. I think what I would say is there are probably 2 or 3 things I want to at least share. One is a set of experiences that I've had, I've heard, and we have felt growing up. It's been a journey for me, not knowing what it was to grow up in a household where it was just taken for granted that it's just there, and you did not know what it meant. And it's taken several decades sitting in San Jose, California, saying, I wish I could go back to that, or how you think about it. The value of that is so precious and what it is. And I think one thing which I think you said earlier is there is an energy in this house which I can find back in my grandfather's house. That's what draws me here. And I'll tell you the reason, some of the stories is why am I sensing that energy? I'll tell you that. Long story short, maybe I'll just, there are a few pictures that we have, and these are pictures that our family did not know were taken. Swami took it, got it done, and then finally somehow several years later we got to know that these are pictures of our family. So that was how it was. The first one, I don't know which picture so while it's coming up, I think where I'll go is and show you some pictures, etc. For our family, how do I say that we have been inside it? So my great-grandfather, my grandfather, my parents, and me all have seen and lived and touched by Swami in some way or the other. The story that I'm at least going to share is saying some of the things that were there. This is in the living room downstairs in Bangalore house that Swami built our house. So he came and inaugurated the house in November 1st, 1950. He was there. And if you go back to some of the speeches that Arvind gives and others, etc., whenever he would come to Bangalore, he would go to Rajamani, Venkatraman, or Srinivasan, which was my grandfather. So he would just come and stay. And there are letters he would write. And he used to call, my grandfather's name is Srinivasan. He would call him Vasan. Vasan, I'm feeling bored, come. Letter would come. So he would take and go. So he kept calling him and saying, what are you doing? So letters, and at that point in time in Bangalore, we had the telephone, and there was no other telephone around. So Swami used to send messages here, and then it would get displayed. So we were the kind of distribution system for messages. When is Swami coming? When is going? We were like, okay, he's coming. As long as he comes and goes quickly, fine. There's too much of work to be done at home. Let him just go to somebody else's house. Because it was a lot of work to handle him. First thing, my grandmother would say, oh, I have to take shower early in the morning. Otherwise, I would take shower later. Everything changes when Swami is around, right? So that was the kind of innocence, I would say, and naivety. We did not know that it was there. My mother would say, oh, again, Swami is coming. Okay, now I have to wear pattapavada. I have to wear all of this. I have to do all of this. Okay, and that means Swami is coming, which means ladies are on this side, gents are on this side. All this drama will start. That was pressure, social pressure, peer pressure, which was there. This is a photo that was there in our living room. This is the picture that is there of the inauguration. This is the house. We still, even when I go to Bangalore today, this is the house. Those are the same things. The lady who's a little darkish with the glasses on the left, that's my grandmother. The person right behind Swami with the Sri Charnam is my great-grandfather. He's no longer there. And I can't see, but my grandfather is somewhere there behind. Oh, the person on the left, the right shoulder, the face right above Swami, that's my grandfather. That was there. The Namam? No, the Namam is the great-grandfather. Okay. On the left, the other shoulder is my grandfather. So that was the inauguration. And inauguration was there. There are stories pretty much. This is in the puja room that we had. This is my grandfather's father, my father's side great-grandfather. Pure Sri Vaishnavite. It was like he took a long time to convert to even agree to say that Swami is something. So there was a lot of family stories about that tussle going on, saying, who are you bringing into the house? So when my grandfather was there, so he converted and had that thing. This was the puja room where Swami had said, keep a small space there, don't cover it, and come. And he materialized a Sudarshana Chakra kind of a thing and put it there and closed the house. So that was then, even today in our puja room, it is there. When I say that vibration is there, I could find that upstairs. And I went and said, this feels something. I did not know that because every day you'll go sit in the puja room and just say, or say some prayer or bhajan. My grandmother was a musician, a lot of bhajans and so on. And Swami likes bhajans, so start singing bhajan means sit 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, he'll go. Till you can't do anything till he gets up and goes. So, we have first world problems, different world problems, if you want to think about it, right? So, did not know the meaning of all of that, did not see all of that. So my parents, I mean, I was not part of that. My parents were part of that, who did not, who said, what is this? Every day bhajan, every day this, come on. So it was not a normal childhood, if you think about it from that sense. It was a childhood that was filled with Swami and filled with bhajans and filled with all of that, which was very different because that was not the vogue or the social norm, and nobody even knew Swami was there. So what's going on in this house? Every day there's a bhajan, every day there's something going on. What is going on? So that was the kind of environment that was there. So I just talked about the vibration that is there, that Sudarshan Chakra. I found that in the lingam and all of that. So that's something. It reminds me of home. So 6 hours is not a big deal. I would do that daily if possible. So that is one. You go to the next picture. These are the stairs that come down. I have sat in those stairs and done my entire engineering study in the night, etc., not knowing that Swami actually had gone through those stairs several times. I got hold of these pictures when I was in the US. This looks like my house. What is this? I did not know that Swami had come. And so I'm going to tell you a few more. I'm going to use the word Leela, if that is the right word to explain. Swami would be upstairs. And then he'll tell my grandfather, don't send anybody upstairs. Nobody should come up. And then there are other people, once Swami is there, everybody will come and they'll be waiting and saying, we want to go up and see Swami. My grandfather will say, he has said nobody should come up. So whoever is there, after some time Swami comes down. Hey, you're here, why didn't you come up? Vasan, I told you when he's there, you should send him up. And my grandfather is like, okay, it is a common thing. It was extremely common for him to play that prank, if you want to use that word. If you were close, you would understand that. If you were not close, or you saw it from a little further, it would look like politics. And only people who have been saying, okay, people who have heard both sides of him speaking don't send and send can see and at least interpret what it is. At least we have heard it there. What's the real meaning behind that? nobody still can fathom. But he's played one Leela. There are several people who hated our family because they would say that we hoarded Swami and put him upstairs in the room and kept him and not give him to share with anybody. Very common things that were there like that. He'll come and ask my grandmother to sing a song. Okay, sing the next song. Other people, no chance. Because he keeps. It was a conversation. It was an experience to see how he plays games. And he took us through the family through a period of what I would say pushing us into certain areas that we were not comfortable navigating. We did not know how to navigate. That was that. And that person was the driver of our house and so on. So everybody in my grandfather's, he was an attorney, lawyer, so had office peons and juniors, etc. All of them became Sai devotees because of him. And many of them got to drive Swami around places, etc. And they did not know anything about Swami. So it was like you were an influential person in some way, an instrument for a lot of other families around that. Go to the next picture. Yeah, that's my grandfather and my uncle. So that is his name is Kandan. So plenty of stories. He has sat on Baba's lap and traveled from Bangalore to Kanyakumari, etc., just sitting on his lap multiple times. So because we have, at that point in time, my grandfather was affluent enough to have cars, and Swami wanted to drive. He was a chauffeur. We would take Swami everywhere. If nothing was there, go sit, Kandan, come. He used to call him, instead of Rowdy, he'll call him Dirao. Hey, Dirao, come and sit here. Dirao. He was called Dirao. And then say, what do you want? Masal dosa. Masal dosa. Today he's asking, what was I asking? Why did I ask for masal dosa when he asked me for anything? Our family is known for food, etc. We love eating. So masal dosa was what we asked. So he asked Swami and said, give me masal dosa. Today he's a prophet. He's there and he's like, what was I doing at that point in time? Why did I ask him? That was, it's a set of experiences that you do not know the value of it when you're in that. It's like, there's a philosophy that I think about it. If you think about the stories that are talked about, the Gopikas in Vrindavan, they did not know he was God or Paramapurusha or Paramatma. There was just pure love and abandon with him. That was it. They did not know what it meant. They did not care about the yogic thing and the jnana and all of that. It was just love for Krishna was what was there. That was the kind of feeling that was there between when he was with our family. And I was saying, it's just somebody was come. We love him so much. Invite him, play, and that was it. There was no, that concept was not there. And when he moved away, then we realized, oh my God, it is our God, oh my God, it is really, oh my God. That separation happened. So that is my uncle. If you go to the next one. Oh my. So beautiful. This Navratri happened in our house, and Swami said, why don't you go and decorate upstairs? And my grandmother said, oh, Swami, where flowers? What? Next, somebody just says, hey, we heard Swami has come, flowers came to the house. She said, okay, let's go decorate. This is our upstairs. There's a like a sofa or a divan, whatever you want to call it. Said, let's put it there. And this was upstairs in our house that was there. Said, these were all, we did not know existence of these photographs till recently, about 10, 15 years ago. No idea who took them. But we know this happened. We know there were windowsills. We know all of this. This was our house. We know we did this. When my grandmother said, hey, this I did. Where is this picture? What is this? So that was the kind of things we realized how it happened later. He wanted that thing, and I think the next couple of ones were that in Prashanti, that in the mandir they have that a silver snake that came from here. Said, bring it here, and then from here it will go to Prashanti. So he said, I want this. And my grandfather was there. So this is some of the things that are, maybe a couple of more pictures, and then we'll go into some experiences that are there about our family. Oh, the girl on the far left is my mom. On the far right is my uncle, who is his Karnan. And the third person is third daughter, my aunt, her name is Prasanna. She's there. This was her family that was there. I have another aunt who was not born and who's in the next picture. So this is the family that was there and said, I want to tell. Swami said, come take a picture. If Swami said, come take a picture, picture happened. Otherwise, we didn't know what a picture was. No memories, nothing. My grandfather hasn't seen any of this. He's no longer there. He passed away 30 years ago, much younger. He has not seen any of this. He doesn't even know this. So this is the family at that point in time. This is my great-grandfather and mother. They did not believe in Swami, staunch Vaishnavites and all of that. And the transformation happened for them as well. When he went to Trivandrum, he stayed at their house in Dikshatira, and that was the family. And so they also understood, okay, this is what it is. And so what he would do is do Vishnu Sahasranam daily to him in person when he was there. And he did not know what it meant. Every day he'll come, he'll do Vishnu Sahasranamam and go. It's very difficult to understand. So I think a few weeks ago when Leonardo was saying, this is an avatar who has come. We did not realize it was an avatar, and we were at this point in time physically able to do some of this. Nobody realized it was an avatar, and this is what, if you believe in that philosophical system, people and rishis do millions of years of tapas to get that darshan to be able to do it. We got it as if it was like a cake in the walk in the park. We just did not know what it was. It just happened. This is my aunt. This is my aunt. So the kid without the dress is my aunt. And the other kid is Sudha Raghunathan, the singer.
Oh. Raman.
Yeah, so Venkat Raman, Sudha Raghunathan. So they were related, they're related to us. They're first cousins. My grandmom and Rajamani and all our first cousins that are there. So Sudha Raghunathan. So Swami named Sudha Geeta. So he named both the kids. So my aunt is Geeta and that was Sudha. And if you think of the elephant, that was Geeta, Sudha was there. But he had already named this and said, this is Geeta, she's Geeta, this is Sudha. Interestingly, my aunt did not like God. It has to happen in our lifetimes. If we all said, let's go and watch this Ramayana movie or some mythological movie. No, I want to go for the romance movie. I want to go to this other movie, etc. She's been all her life, I'm going to use the word anti-God. It's not about Swami. Just revulsion from the whole thing. Just separate. Everything changed in I would say about 10 years ago, maybe. No idea how that change happened, what happened. She became the president of Sathya, I think, in Canada. She does the whole thing. She did the whole thing and then gave it away, and then now she's there. Now there isn't a single prayer she misses. Why did that clock start after 50 years? No idea. It just starts at some point in time. But now she says, oh, that was happening. Oh, that was happening. I did this. All the rewind. I think the seed was sown. It took a very long time to germinate. So Geeta Sudha was
time.
And in fact, that picture was very clear. Sudha, because we are different families, they were well-to-do in a way, and they had all clothes and were dressed, etc. We were not even photo ready. The kid is there. Swami said, bring the kid. Kid comes, takes a picture. It was not meant for a photo op. If we knew there was a photo, we would have even put a cloth on it and said, no. Swami said, you go. No idea. Oh, you want a photo? Take the photo. Take the Swami, take the kid. That was it. That was the innocence in which that all of that happened. That is there. I think that was pretty much. We have a few more pictures. I mean, at least I have at least a. Oh, this one. I think if I remember right, this is. I think there's another picture which I don't think I included. The previous one. Go back to the previous one. They went to Kashmir, and there are pictures of Swami riding a horse, and then my grandfather was also riding a horse. My grandfather has barely ridden a cycle, forget a horse. So he got onto the horse, fell down, fractured his arm right there. He's like this. That was another interesting thing about the relationship between. I'm the eldest grandson. And I had the opportunity to be very close to him and hear a lot, and all what I would say the philosophical bent of mind, I got it from him. If anything that I know about mythology, anything I know of philosophy, my approach to God, everything has come from my grandfather. He molded me because I grew up a lot with my grandfather. So I've had lots of debates with him about karma and jnana and all kinds of things. One of the principles that I think he taught is, I'm not asking him. When he broke his arm, he did not ask Swami, I'm broken, etc. He just kept quiet. Swami said, why are you standing in the way with your hand funnily? Come this side. Go. And my grandfather, it was not important for my grandfather that his hand was cured. He said it was not important for me. He said there's a different purpose. I'm not going there because I have this, etc., and all of that. He did not. And there's a lot of story of how he got introduced to Swami because my grandmother had a earache and then all of that, and that was all of the other problems. He was a person which I think from a philosophical purpose, if you take what I have learned from him is it's not a give and take relationship. How do you transcend that give and take? A lot of us get, and it's not, okay, I cannot profess to say that I can practice it well. No way. Something goes wrong in the office, something goes wrong with money, I said, give me. I'm also going to pray and ask for some barter system. How do you get beyond that? But I have seen him, he's one person I have seen up close who grew beyond that ask system. In fact, I would even go to the extent where I have seen him have conversations with Swami say, you cannot do anything to me. Destiny is supreme. My karma is more supreme. You cannot do anything. What I'm supposed to do, I am supposed to do. He passed away because of cancer and certain illnesses. Till the last day, he never prayed and saying, I need a cure. If it has to happen, it will happen. You cannot do anything. That does not mean he did not have the power or a belief or all of that. That's a different thing. There was a concept of what I would say, Sakyam is the right word. They were friends. They were actually friends, not a devotee, but he knew his place. That Sakyam was there, which was where it changed. The way he approached Swami, the way he approached life was very different. It was no longer, I need something from you and you need to give me that. And Swami has said that multiple times. You and I are one. Why are you asking? But it is not easy for us to transcend that thing. And you and I are one. If it was so easy for us to understand it, what are we doing here? It's a completely different level of sadhana, if you want to think about it, to break that. He was also instrumental, I think, in one way. There was a time when, and Arvind has recorded some of this, but it's not released at some point. It'll get released. When my grandfather and a couple of other people were there in Prashanti Nilayam in the mandir, Swami said, come. He took one piece of paper, just kept rolling it, blew into it. It became a silver needle. He took it, dipped it in honey, and then wrote on my grandfather's tongue. And then said, here's the mantra upadesham for you. Say this mantra. My grandfather never did Sandhya Vandanam, never cared for a Poonal, never wore Sri Charanam, never said any Vishnu Sahasram, no shlokam, nothing in his life. The mantra was all he used. And I was just talking to him a few minutes ago and saying, yeah, my grandmother was different. She was always worried about the daughters. Worried about my education, my daughter's education, daughter's marriage, this house, all of that. And saying, she said, the life needs to run. We need to do all of this. So she was. And when things didn't go well, sometimes go to Swami, sometimes don't go to Swami, sometimes go to the astrologer, all of that. The same 9 yards, we've done all of that. There's a time when they went to a astrologer. I think there's a form of astrology where you throw the dice, or the shells. They call it chori. They throw the shells, and then you use the shells or some numerology to kind of do some prediction. And that guy, he was doing something, and then he said, something is wrong here. What are you saying? I'm not saying anything. What's there in your mind? It so happened that he was just silently telling that mantra in his mind. He said, I need you to leave. That is, if you do that, I cannot predict if that force is inside this thing. My grandfather said, Poda. I am doing Poda to Swami, who are you? That's the kind of thing. That is my mantra. I will say whenever I want, however I want. If you want to do it, otherwise fine. But it gave us an understanding, oh, that had that much power. None of us in the family even knew that that was there. I have sat on him and asked him, can you tell me what it is? He'll laugh at me and say, what do you mean? I can't. But that was such a important, precious part of the whole journey, I would say, that was there. How do you transcend that? That was some learning that was there. So, I don't know if there are other pictures. Oh, this is a picture which is, so we have moved from the black and white era to the color era. Those were all pictures that are representing our family's histories, probably in 50s, 60s, on all of that. Swami and my grandfather would have lots of fights. They had one fight on the creation of the Sathya Sai Trust. My grandfather was adamant that he needed to create a trust. Swami was saying, no, I will not. Why you all trust? I'll take care of it. No, you have to create a trust. You're receiving so much money and all of that for tax. You better create a trust. You should create a trust. And they stopped talking over it. So unless you create a trust, I'm not coming to Puttaparthi. The way you think about it, these are experiences, or what I would say the worldly lens of how you see certain things. My observation or my philosophy of what had happened was, my grandfather was so into Swami, he had neglected his family. This was a reason where Swami said, go. And so it kind of happened there was a gap of about, I would say, easily 10, 15 years where Swami would not let him come in. It was like, what mistake? That was it. The family went through that period where saying, you did something wrong. If there's a whole bunch of people who said, okay, you were hoarding Swami all this time. It's your time for your thing is done. We've heard all the comments of saying, you are the bad one, we are the good one, all of that. That's common. It's very common. What I would say is the proximity to Swami always and the desire for Swami creates politics and creates contempt, creates those feelings. It is not easy to get. And I can attest to that. You can go to any temple. The volunteer who does more service is more attached to the temple than the next volunteer and say, this is my way, this is my temple, this is my idol, this thing. It starts seeping at that level. If you can seep for a simple column or a simple decoration, that is mine. And if you have Paramatma and that is not mine, you are going to have fights. So the human tendencies come across. But that was a revelation for us as a family saying, okay, we saw that was there. So he stopped talking to my grandfather, but he would talk to my grandmother. Oh, how is he? He'll ask everything through her. Oh, how is he? And all of that, right? So we've had a series of experiences that are there. My grandfather would never go to Whitefield. He would only go to Puttaparthi. So every Saturday, Sunday, when bhajans are there, etc., me and my grandmother would go. So I was lucky enough, and because I was the grandson who was raised by my grandparents, because my parents were in Libya, and I'll tell you that story. So I got to go with my grandmother a lot. And so my grandfather would drop us. We will go. I said, why are you not coming? Okay, I'm not coming. Swami is there. He would not even bother. And then one day he said, I don't need to go in to see him. I could not understand what that meant. I'm like, you're bluffing. There's something wrong. You're sleepy or groggy or whatever. Something at that age, I did not realize what that meant. Now I'm able to come back and say, I do not need to see him. I do not need to see him physically. What did it really mean? It's his version, but I feel there is some meaning to that, right? Can you attain that in your lifetime? Can you see something in that lifetime? It doesn't mean he was not a saint by any means. He had his own things and all of that, but he had an ability to connect in that way, right? How do you transcend that physical form? It is very difficult for some of us who have seen Swami physically, touched him, felt him, who feel the miss of that physical presence today. Can we transcend that? It's not easy. I can tell you, those who have touched it and felt it, it is like, okay, oh my God, because we are able to only comprehend with our physical senses. It is how do you comprehend with your mental faculty? I think that's a completely different sadhana that you need to go to. That was one aspect. So he would go with my grandmother, keep asking her questions, do all of this, and that was happening. Since she was a singer in Brindavan group that was there. Vrindavan politics was always there. Go front, go back, go do this thing, do all of that. That was there. There's a point in time where, if you go back to that picture, I just want to show that picture once. And there's a reason why that picture is there. So as politics happened and all of things happened, my grandmother was, at some point, she could not sing. Obviously, age catches up. My grandmother is still alive. We just had a picture for the new year. She's 94. And all her kids, they all went together and they just sent us a picture of that. I don't know if we all understand what the value of it. For me, who's outside far away, I'm like, oh my God. For people who are already inside the house, like, okay, some of them it's taken for granted or whatever it is. That sari and that picture was important for us. No, we did not know this picture. It came after a very long time we got this picture. So the story behind this picture is, Brindavan group, all the natural things, and because she was not good at singing, and then she started losing her voice, is what I would say. Oh, by the way, Swami has taught her how to sing. And said, I want this swaram here, do this, sing that. If you spend 6 to 8 hours daily for a week, how much of training can you get from him? You don't get that with regular teachers. That is Swami teaching you and perfecting this thing. So that was the era she has gone through. And believe it or not, she's a perfectionist in music because she got trained by him. He would say, this needs to be this. And we did not think about how does he know, how does that human form know that level of precision in music in the right way, in the wrong way, in the right word. That's a different story. But anyway, going back to this Brindavan group, so she could not sing. So she was out of the group, etc. And all of that is fine. And then she is no longer in the front row. You have youngsters, new people singing in Brindavan. Everything is going on. And then Swami does sari distribution and all of that, right? And then he went in, and then suddenly he came and gave one sari and said, give this to Vasan's wife. Nobody in the group knows who's Vasan or Vasan's wife. First of all, nobody knows Vasan. Vasan is also out of the picture. Where is Vasan's wife? Nobody knows whom to give the sari to. So they were looking and looking and looking, and then somebody said, maybe he's referring to Srinivasan, maybe somebody. And then they came to my grandmother's house and said, "Does your husband is called Vasan?" She said, "Yeah. Swami sent sari for you." "Oh, really? Okay." My grandmother is crying and crying and crying. Okay, I got sari. Oh, she's on top of the world. And a few days goes by and it says, where is Vasan's wife? Where is she? Bhajan group. What do you mean, where is she? She's not part of the group. She needs to train all of you. Gone. Suddenly 10 cars, 15 cars in our house. Where is my grandmother? Where are you? Swami has said. That whole drama started where she started becoming the teacher for the singers. And she'll say, she cannot sing, but she'll fine tune them and said. And then she said, Sairam, madam, we didn't know you were in this house. We didn't have photographs. We didn't tell anybody this. In fact, very few people in my family know about the existence of these photographs. It was just like, it's just there. Nobody knew about it. So, Sairam, madam, all this happened. Come sit here. You want this seat, you want that seat. I cannot sing. If Swami says something, you need to be. She grew up in a place where she grew up in an era, or she got instructed where the do's and don'ts were very clear from Swami's perspective. There is no room for interpretation. If Swami says somebody needs to sit in front, that's the only person. There is no interpretation. There is no. He said, I have to teach, which means I will teach at home. That doesn't mean I get to sit there. I am not coming. And then Swami said, go call her. I want to see her. This photograph happened. And that sari happened. So and my grandmother, after this, she has cried and got cold and cough and everything with that. That is a different story altogether. And saying, that was what happened. And he drew her in and said, hey, we need to come back to the fold. I'm going to give you two more stories about, I don't know how we are doing on time, because I can go on and on about our family.
You can go with all the You took us back to the times.
Yeah, this is, every one of this has happened either, when we talked about the Graha Pravesham that Swami did, we didn't have enough food. If you have heard the story of Christ of two fish and 7 loaves, that happened in our house. There were only small, panda. Swami said, go. And the Patram, there were thousands of people who came. We did not even know. The whole streets were filled. That has happened in our house. And so everybody says, I was like, what are you talking about? Because I did not know about it. So when I read the Christ, I said, okay, Christ did this on the mount when he was doing the sermon, 2 fish and 7 loaves of bread. He fed thousands of people. My grandfather said, yeah, we did it in our house also. It was like, what do you mean you did it in our house? You know, that's the kind of, every miracle we have, there are so many miracles. I think one realization for me is, we think about things that we cannot explain as miracles. What we are living in, what our normal lives itself is a miracle. Who can design an eye of this perfection? It's not evolution. Who can design a breathing system? Who can design photosynthesis? Who can design gravity? Who can design all of that? If you think about those things, those are miracles that we take for granted. So if we are taking certain things for granted and looking for something different as a miracle, then we have forgotten the obvious. Our journey with Swami has said, we took certain things for granted. The real miracle is, everything is a miracle if you want to use that as a thing. Don't look for the extra, the thing that you cannot explain and the thing that you cannot do. We tend to, our human minds wants the extra stuff. We are always after that extra stuff, or the things that we cannot get by ourselves. Give me that extra. And then my belief will go in. Barter system. I slip into that barter system somehow. That's at least my observation, and saying, by no means I have conquered or even made an inch of progress, but it's just being aware and saying it's tricky to get there. 2 other things that I would say about our Swami's words. I think this is another thing which is there. A lot of times they are, what I would say, we have seen it firsthand. We have no idea what it means, and much later we will do it. I'm going to probably give you three miracle and examples. One is definitely a miracle, but the other 2 are just, don't know what it is. My mom is, anyway, we all were in India, and my uncle had already moved to the US. he was studying in the US and America, and he was there at that point. So I was there. He was teaching actually. And I'm going to say I was in second year engineering around that time. Came to Puttaparthi, just sitting in line, all of that. He came for darshan, and then he saw my grandmother and my mom. America, va? A daughter from Goa. Son is in America. Oh, அப்படியா? He will always talk to us, our family, in Tamil. He will always talk to my mother in Telugu because she understands Telugu. But my grandmother and grandfather only in Tamil, never in Telugu. That guy is and he'll talk to German with the Germans also. That I have seen. There was in the intro, so America. We were all scratching our head. Did he really want to see Kannan? And that's why he said America. He's from this thing. No idea what is happening. No idea. Backstory of that is my father's brother had sponsored my father for a green card 20 years ago. And they kept saying, your green card application has come, etc. Green card application, come, we're giving you the green card, come. My father and mother said, we don't want it, we are not interested. My mother wanted to stay with my grandfather in Bangalore and be close to him. So we rejected every application from the US. Look at there are millions of people here trying to do, ready to give an arm and a leg. And here we are saying, no, we don't want to come. My father and mother are saying, no. And we're very clear, I want to stay. My mother said, I want to stay with my grandfather. Forget US and all, I'm not interested. After that interview, about, I would say, 3-4 months, my grandfather passed away. And my mother completely lost interest in anything and everything. She said, I want to start a new life. Where is that green card application? We're going to America. And my mom, who has never worked in India, she, my father, everybody come to the US. We all have been in the US for the last 25 years. And she's learned to drive, learned to work, went and studied here. My mother, at the age of 50, she came and started studying here and became a paralegal and did all her drama, whatever she wanted to do. He said, but America. Now we go back and say, you said America and we landed here. No one had an idea. Here's another. So I think just those are some cryptic examples of saying words that are there which take a long time to realize what does it mean. We were in an interview and there was there were foreigners, etc. There was a German that was there. He spoke to that person, and I'm jogging back dates quite a bit, but it's definitely early 90s, I would say. He spoke to him in German. What do we know? It's German, you two are talking together. We have no idea what he was saying. So afterwards, that guy said, Swami said, no wall. What is the meaning of no wall? No wall, no wall. Swami has told him 3 times, no wall in German. So this guy doesn't know what no wall means. He's trying to see if there is another interpretation in an English language or something. Because that person is, so where are you coming from? I'm coming from East Germany. It's very difficult to come. Where is the wall between East and West today? He was able to come frequently after that. There is no more wall. That guy was been struggling to come to Puttaparthi for so long. 3 years ahead of it, he said, there is no wall. It took us so much longer to say, what do you mean by no wall? Every word that he says has some meaning which you cannot appreciate it at that point in time. So that person would have understood no wall 2 years later when the Berlin Wall went down. Till then he also doesn't know what is no wall, what is the meaning of it. You just can't fathom that. The last one I will give you, which is actually a miracle. I would say my mom has had life experiences where she's gone in and out. My aunt has gone through it, my uncle has gone, each of us have gone in certain places where I would say you've crossed that laws of physics that you're live or not live, and then whatever science we know, scientific principles no longer are applicable, and he comes and he has saved, or I'm going to say saved, resurrected, I don't know what the meaning is. He's given us continuity of life. I would just say that. And he's had an instrument. But this is a unique one in our family. Uh, I have a younger brother who's about 10 years younger to me. He's in Florida. Uh, so my parents, so when I was growing up, my parents went to Libya because the government sent, today Libya is a different world, but at that point in time, there was agreements between India and Libya for lots of government transactions. So my father was deputed there to do some electrical projects and so on. Father, mother were there. My sister also went. And so one fine day, my mom calls my grandfather and says, I had a weird dream. Swami came and put one baby next to next to my head and went. Oh, good. I think you're going to have a baby. No, that's not possible. No, not possible. Life happens. She was pregnant. They did not want to have the kid. They tried to abort. A lot of friction between the family and this about that decision that was there. Anyway, then they said, okay, we're going to have the baby. She comes to India and going through this thing. She has several complications. And some of the complications, she started having asthma and wheezing. She always had wheezing and asthma, whether it's because of allergy or other things, multiple reasons, but a chronic wheezing patient. So it was very difficult for her to breathe. And the baby had moved into a particular position where it was not, for whatever reason, the umbilical cord had gone, etc. And they could not give her anesthesia to do a C-section. So they could not do anesthesia. She is wheezing. She does not have the strength to push the baby out. And then the water had dried and this labor was going in hour 13, hour 14, it had gone. And so that was there. She was delirious at that point. And the physicians, everybody had said, one of them we need to make a decision on one. And the family had to make a decision on one. What can you make a decision on one? What are you? It's not a scenario that you're prepared. Nobody can prepare you for such scenarios to say, choose life. And so everybody, my grandmom as usual is like completely, is bawling away. My grandfather just said, he just went and sat inside the puja room in there. He said, I'm not coming to the hospital. He just sat there. Everything was there. Then my mother remembers this and she tells, because she could overhear the nurses saying that they're going to lose her. She's heard the nurses saying that my mom is not going to survive. She's gone. And you're push. So she's already hearing them saying that she's going. And then there's one nurse who comes and she remembers very clearly one nurse coming. In Kannada, she's innonsali push madi. One more time, just push. And she just pushes and then she passes out. She's unconscious or whatever. She has no longer any consciousness ever. Baby is delivered. She wakes up after 4 hours. Life, everything comes back to normal, etc. When I say normal, we've crossed that hurdle. And the next, we are back in Goa, bringing up, and I remember this vividly because I remember seeing my brother. He was bundle blue in color. I'm like, and head pushed this way, all of that. With a very severe traumatic, I wouldn't say it's a painful process. That's all I can remember, those pictures, right? And my mom was like, I could just see vibhuti on her head and she was not. I thought she's gone. That was because as a young kid, I did not know more than that. Everybody said, yes, she's alive, but that was it. Everything happened. Fast forward about 5 months. My mom had another attack of wheezing, severe wheezing, etc. in Goa. lots of challenges in wheezing and all of that, and everything happened. And she said, okay, we need to go to Puttaparthi. Let's go over there. Comes to Puttaparthi, everything is there. Then Swami comes along, looks at me, Papa, chala kashtapatindi. Mother and everybody are just pouring their eyes out. That was the last day of wheezing in her life. Okay, what is the miracle in this? My father had a vasectomy before the boy was there. How was the third one? And then he said, vasectomy, and then he said, this is the third one. That is my son. I'll take care of him. I will take care of that boy. Go. There is no words to explain if you have gone through that process and you realize you have transcended the laws of physics. How can you have a kid? How can you do this? And how can you go through this journey? And how can you come here? And then he says, I'll take care. Papa, chala kashtapandi. Okay, now I'll take care. So you paid off your dues, now I'll take care. I think there are several instances in our life. I mean, it's not unique. There are lots of devotees who have these experiences which you just cannot explain physically through our senses and say what it is. The only thing I would probably share is don't look for those miracles. They are happening even without your knowledge. You don't need him to come and say this is taken care of. It's already happening. And we sometimes gravitate and we look for some physical evidence or proof or some communication to say that he is doing it for us. But there are so many things that happen without you knowing about it. And can you realize it is probably what I would say. That's all I would say. Wishing all of you a new year and a path in your spiritual journey. Sai Ram.